Good morning. I am. It's a 10 a.m. and we are June or March 10th, 2026. Uh, so Yesterday I was reading on the outskirts suburbs of Toronto and trying to understand the city better because yeah, you can move to the city, but you don't it's not necessarily the same thing if you're living in one corner of the city than if you're living in another. So, a very important thing that you need to know is what you're looking for, what sector of the city that you want to be living in. Because, like I said, there's a drastic difference between certain areas and others. So this is like a beginner that's moving to the city doesn't know that. But in Toronto, you have the outer cities. You have the downtown, just 3 million people, which I was a part of. I was a part of downtown because they have the east side and the west side. But you also have outer cities, and I heard people tell me about. I grew up in Scarborough. I grew up in Brampton. I grew up in Richmond Hill or Markham or Mississauga. So I hear about those things. They call it the Grand. They call it the Greater Toronto Area, the GTA. So people are living there and they're commuting downtown with their car or with the transit. You have the GO train that is going out more far out. But the thing that I realized yesterday is that these cities, which I didn't know what they were, I don't know what people were referring to when they said that. It's like, okay, is this a whole other Toronto? Is it what? I don't know. So they said that online that these places are residential areas. So they call it the suburbs. And so it's places where people live. It's residential houses, sometimes multiple condos or multiple apartments in one building or high rise. But it's mostly residential, and you have the shopping mall as well, and groceries and everything you need. So people that are living in those places, they don't have to come to Toronto. They come on occasion for the events or something distinct. Maybe they want to see touristic area. They want to visit the CN Tower or something like that. Then they can come, or they have a job in Toronto that maybe that's what they make that they can do the back and forth to get there. And so I was living in East York. East York is part of downtown, so it's much denser area and it's a older area as well because the outer cities of the GTA are new buildings. They are recent from about 50 years ago that they were built, not more than that. So just to give the main idea of how it works, and the it's much easier to commute than when you're living downtown. You don't need a car. It's possible to commute without a car if you're living in outer cities, but it can take a longer time. I heard it's like an hour or 45 minutes to commute from those neighboring cities, and each one of those are half a million people. So there's as many people living outside of the downtown core that they are living in the downtown core. So that is transferable to other cities. It's the same type. If you think about the greater metropolitan area of Montreal, you have cities that are Laval, Longueuil. You have the Blainville. You have the Boucherville. You have the island of Montreal. This is where the downtown is. But even then, there's other cities that you don't necessarily have to commute to downtown every day or something. Yeah, downtown is there, you know that it's there, but you're living in the suburbs, the outside. Doesn't mean that you're that close to the downtown. And for me, East York was it's actually a very good place from what I hear on the reviews online. It's ideal place to live, very, very, very livable. Probably one of the best. Some people say that it's one of the best areas in Toronto, and you have because you have access to the trails, to the Don Valley Parkway that's right there, the easy access to the metro, the subway to get to downtown, and you can go to the park, Riverdale Park, and you have the scenery of the city, the downtown with the big buildings. So I had that. However, the space is very limited. The advantage of living in the outer cities is that you have more space. You have maybe a big house with a place to park your car. Maybe you have a garage. You have a little bit of space, a little land that you can hang out outside. I don't know. So I guess that some people who immigrate, they can go through that way of doing it by going on the outer cities of Toronto downtown instead of going straight to downtown. I never had that option. I think you need to do the research, find your own way of doing it. But anyway, so that is my understanding. And so, as for neighborhood wise, um, it's basically the same. A lot of it is a lot. A lot of it is the same. It really depends on how far you want to be from certain things. If you what you need, but usually you have the same resources at every block. You have the gyms, you have the community centers, you have the restaurants, cafes, churches. You have a library. It repeats from one block to the other, so you all have the same resources, uh, and you have the parks. So uh, maybe you have less traffic in certain areas. You have better air quality in certain areas, but or maybe there's I don't know. Some people say that the West is better than the East. So why is that? I don't know. Anyway, that's my video. I just wanted to say a comment about the war because I heard that the Prime Minister is not commenting or because there's a certain war that is a war of choice of Donald Trump in the Iran Middle East. And what is my opinion on that? I always am against war, of course, 100%. I know that from experience, the Iraq experience of supposedly they were there to in the early 2000s. I mean, they started a war. The U.S. started a war with Iraq because they're saying that they're terrorists they're harboring terrorists, weapons of mass destruction, and so they had these terrorist groups that they're supposedly Bin Laden, Osama bin Laden was responsible for what happened to the World Trade Center, September 11, 2001. So they started a war over that, and it lasted for years and years and years, and it also ended up with a recession, and that was one of the most difficult things I've ever experienced. It's probably, yeah, one of the most difficult things when the recession is there. It's very hard. Uh, so just think that there's nothing. Finally, they realized that they were in the wrong place or something. That yes, the people that they thought were responsible were not responsible, and it was a big misunderstanding, and so many innocent people got killed for no reason. So I always I can refer to that to say that, of course, there's nothing good about what happens if some people go to war. So uh, it's much more damage. It's damaging for everybody. So it's really hard to recover even after. So I would say war is bad and avoid it. Thank you.